There's a certain kind of silence that comes before a story that changes everything. It's the pause before a confession, the moment before a truth lands so hard that it shakes the room. For millions of people around the world, that silence, that pause, comes every time a man named John Allen, better known as MrBallen, looks into the camera and says, "Today's story is dark and mysterious." To the uninitiated, MrBallen is just a YouTuber, a man with a calm voice, a baseball cap, and a knack for storytelling. But to his fans, he's something else entirely. He's the keeper of the world's strangest, darkest, and most unbelievable stories. His channel isn't just about crime, it's about humanity. The best of it, the worst of it, and everything that lies in between. But long before he became one of YouTube's most recognizable narrators, John Allen lived a life defined by danger, sacrifice, and loss. He wasn't born into fame or entertainment. He was born into discipline. He served as a U.S. Navy SEAL, one of the most elite military forces in the world. For years, he lived in the shadows of war, training for missions that most people would never hear about, standing beside men who risked everything for a cause larger than themselves. Then, one day, everything changed. During an operation, John was badly injured. The mission's details remain classified, but what's known is that it ended his career as a SEAL. The man who had spent his life running toward chaos suddenly found himself staring into stillness. No gunfire, no orders, no mission, just silence. And it nearly broke him. Transitioning from military life to civilian life is never easy. For John, it was like stepping off a cliff into the unknown. He'd gone from the intensity of combat to the quiet of suburban life, and the void that followed was deafening. So he did what he knew best. He told stories. At first, it was just for friends and family, tales from his service, strange events, lessons learned. But as he began to speak more openly, people leaned in. His words carried something rare, authenticity. He wasn't just telling stories, he was reliving them. In 2020, at a time when the world was unraveling in uncertainty, John launched a YouTube channel under the name MrBallen. It was simple, no flashy edits, no gimmicks. Just a man in a hoodie, speaking softly to a camera, recounting stories that made your blood run cold. And within weeks, the world couldn't look away. He told tales of people disappearing under impossible circumstances, of chilling coincidences, of crimes that defied reason. But unlike traditional true crime hosts, MrBallen didn't focus on gore or shock value. He focused on emotion. He told stories the way a campfire storyteller would. Quiet, deliberate, mesmerizing. He built suspense not with sound effects, but with pauses. He let silence do the talking. The result? Millions of people, scrolling through a sea of noise, stopped to listen. By the end of 2021, his channel had exploded. Millions of subscribers, billions of views. Fans around the world waiting for the next story time. He wasn't just entertaining them, he was pulling them into a shared experience. The thrill of not knowing what is coming next, the empathy for the victims, and the awe at the strangeness of fate. But beneath that calm storytelling voice is a man who understands darkness on a personal level. You see, John Allen's connection to the macabre isn't morbid curiosity, it's empathy. In the Navy, he'd seen the line between life and death blur too many times. He'd witnessed loss, fear, and courage up close. When he speaks about tragedy now, he does it with reverence, not sensationalism. In a digital world filled with scream thumbnails and clickbait titles, MrBallen became something rare, a storyteller who respected his audience's intelligence. He trusted the story to be enough. His fans describe watching his videos like listening to a friend. Someone who doesn't just want to scare you, but to remind you of something deeper, that the world is vast, unpredictable, and fragile. And yet, that fragility is what makes it beautiful. Over time, his stories evolved. He began a podcast. He worked with major networks. But the core never changed. Whether it's a 5-minute short or a 20-minute deep dive, every story begins the same way: a calm introduction, a rising sense of unease, and an ending that leaves you staring into the dark, wondering how much of it could be true. The truth is, most of it is. From unsolved disappearances to miraculous survivals, MrBallen's library of tales is a tapestry of human experience, the kind that sticks with you long after the video ends. The kind that makes you double-check your locks, or call someone you love, or whisper how. Into the quiet, and yet, for all his fame, John Allen remains remarkably grounded. In interviews, he speaks humbly about his team, his family, and his fans. He says he never expected any of this, that he's just grateful people listen. But his impact goes far beyond entertainment. For many, his voice is a lifeline, a ritual of comfort in chaos. Veterans say his calm storytelling helps them sleep. Students play his stories to focus. Listeners with anxiety call his voice steadying. It's ironic. Really? A man who once lived in violence now brings peace to millions through stories about the darkest corners of humanity. Maybe that's the paradox that makes him so powerful. He's not chasing the darkness. He's trying to understand it, to hold it up to the light, to remind us that even in the most horrific tales, there's always a thread of human truth, the choices we make, the fears we hide, the love we lose. In a way, MrBallen's success isn't about algorithms or watch time. It's about something older, something primal. The need to sit in a circle, to listen, to learn, to feel. And so, every week, millions gather again, to watch a man in a dark hoodie, sitting in front of a plain backdrop, tell another story that begins like all the others, quiet, simple, unassuming. And before you realize it, you're leaning forward. Your heart rate quickens. You've forgotten where you are. That's the magic of it. He doesn't just tell stories. He transports you into them. For some, it's entertainment. For others, it's therapy. But for everyone, it's proof that storytelling, real storytelling, still matters. John Allen, the Navy SEAL who went from battlefields to YouTube, found a new kind of mission. Not to fight war, but to fight forgetting. Because in every story he tells, every missing person, every mystery, every tragedy, he is preserving the one thing that connects us all: our need to know, to feel, to remember. And maybe that's why his tagline, though never spoken aloud,